Hey, we're good to you guys, aren't we? Backed by popular demand is Macro Man, but today he's Tractor Man in the big old Ford. None of these silly little Kubotas flying around. He's got the man tractor out, and yeah, Toon said to his boss, we'll have a tractor for a day to smooth out the island and all the top road around the lake. By the way, Macro Man's doing it. I hope the microphone's doing that engine justice. It sounds absolutely like a beast. Some serious power in that. A Ford 6610. I'm sure some of you tractor boys will be able to give us a lowdown on that model. So we've had a little bit of rain, about an hour of a pitiful shower last night, nothing to shout about, but the night before we had heavy rain for an hour, another couple of hours of drizzle, so hopefully it can work his magic. It's looking a bit precarious up there though. Wow, if he can drive cobblers without any dramas, I'm sure he'll be alright with a tractor. Yeah, quickly show you what he's up against. Like bloody no man's land. And yeah, when we had a load of work done on the island and we agreed to having trucks and a tractor, and some of you may well remember they bought a 400 series Kubota tractor, which was like something out of Toys R Us. It just wasn't man enough for the job. You need some heavy powerful machinery, and I know they do some bigger 700s and 800 series of Kubotas that would probably be man enough to do it, but they're a pretty penny. So you see these big second-hand Fords changing hands around our neck of the woods, and to me, it's the only tractor I've seen around here that can do this sort of thing, cut the mustard. A big old job, big old job. The farmer's herd of cattle out there in the yonder. He's from a village over there. The rice farmer's let his cattle go in there. There's quite a lot of standing water over there again after the heavy downpour, but even if it was dry, we wouldn't let the goats go out there anymore anyway. Once the cows have been in, there's a little tip that, quite a big tip that the vet gave us when he came out. He only came out, he's only been out once, touch wood, and that was when we had a sick goat in the early days, and he was telling us a few bits and bobs to keep your herd safe, and one was don't let the meat on ground that's just been eaten by other animals like cows and pigs. The only time we might let them out is the farms opposite, after they've harvested all their cassava and such like, and corn. Then once it's dried out, you know, if there's plenty of wiry stuff out there, then we'll let them out on there. Still can't start planting anything up, because the fodder system that we're still currently setting up for the goats, that has to be highly productive before we can keep the goats purely on the island and at the other house here during the daytime. So the planting of the lake is still quite some way off. The hyacinth beds are going to be the first thing that are going in. Again, they're on hold because we're doing about 1,000 napier cuttings every day. Toon's going collecting them and chopping them up, and I'm sticking them in the land. So that's why we haven't been doing many videos at the moment. Just long days. I know we're not the only farmers that do long days, but you know, it's our hands are tied at the minute. Our diary is full with daily chores. Right, so he's 2 hours in. He's flying around the place like a lunatic. I think he's having some fun today, and he's already been around the lake a few times, and I think another couple of laps, and he's just just about there. We've also got the access road over there that goes into the, well, we call it the jungle. So that'll need quite a bit of work, because that was a proper mud bath, that was. It's been breaking up nicely, just the right moisture content, I'd imagine. God, this bit almost looks like soil. Caught him having a break. What's all that about? Wow, looking good. It's a bit windy. Hello. Let him off. Even Macro Man has to stop to eat sometimes. This is the bit that was the bit that flooded, so we got them to make this up extra high. Still got my swivel pipe to chop down. I can see some apple snail eggs on there. Brilliant. A lot of snakehead in here at the minute. Not particularly easy to get on my surface lure frogs, because the water's quite coloured, but still good fun nonetheless. All this pasture's still quite wet up to about there. Across there's like a little mountain there. He hasn't started doing the road down onto the pasture yet. Whether or not it's going to be firm enough for him to get the ford on there, I don't know. I presume, well, I'm guessing, but hopefully as he pushes all the loose stuff from the top down there, he can drive on. But there's quite a lot of clay there, and whether it's firm enough for him to drive on now, I don't know. Big plans for this area come the proper dry season. So when this paddock area, if you like, dries out, then we're going to have raised lines for crops, for fodder, for trees. So for 6 months of the year we've always got water here. For about 3 months it's boggy, and for about another 3 months it's dry. It's the main reason we've never ever been able to really grow anything in there successfully other than rice, and that is bloody hard work. Although it is fun, it's not for us. That what the other problem is the depth of the topsoil is about, I'm not over exaggerating here, is about 6 to 8 inches. After that is just a massive sheet of, is it laterite rock, and it just, roots really do struggle to break into that. So that's why we're going to mound the soil up and grow stuff like that, so we could sort of like treble up the depth of what topsoil we've got, and stop things becoming waterlogged. Still as rough as old Watsits, but he's getting there. He's getting there. Oh, it's a little kingfisher. I'm not that well up on native birds of Thailand, but we've definitely got 2 types of kingfisher, and I need to look up on Google. I think there's a third one that we've spotted. I've only seen it a couple of times, so yeah, that'll be nice. It's lovely to see them. I know they get a fair few fish, but generally speaking it's the bag of seal, the little tiny silver fish that stay near the surface. They love it when throwed a pellet into the lake, because there's a lot of dust comes, a lot of powder comes off the pellet, and you'll see the surface of the water it's just like fizz, as if it's like heavy drizzle, where all these little silver bagasil are all coming up and feeding on that, and then you see the kingfishers dive bombing them. It is really, really cool to watch, as long as they're not getting a baby Siamese carp and all that lot. Here we are into day 2. Well, in theory, hour-wise, we're still in day 1. We only got to about lunchtime yesterday, and out of Macro Man's control and ours, oh, just saw some snakehead in there, ran out of fuel for the tractor. The fuel had been ordered first thing in the morning, but there was a puncture on the delivery cab that was supposed to bring it, so the job was handed over to someone else to go and get the fuel and bring it here, and he wasn't here by early afternoon, so the boss rang Macro Man and said bin it off and bring the tractor back to base camp. So he was back nice and early this morning. Now I'm going to apologise now, he's almost done Goat Island. There's a little bit here which is still very, very soft clay. He's struggling with that, so he's scratched it about a bit. Hopefully it'll have time to just dry a little bit more, but his back wheels were in, but everything else is just about done. So I've just been round the outside road and opened the gates for him, and he's now doing the road down into, I don't know what we should call it, Jurassic Goat World, I don't know, but it's going to be designated growing area for fodder and stuff for us, but also we'll set up some sort of pathway. That's why we've got a lot of bamboo earmarked, just to walk the goats out past it, and then they can still get in the jungle at the back, which is the highest ground on the farm, really, bar about whereabouts our house is. So we can put them out there most of the year round as and when we need to. He did say to me in tune that I can keep on driving round and getting it smoother and smoother. Said, but each time I drive round it'll be less and less effective. So he said you'll just be burning your money, and if you just wait for the rains. And of course the goats help immensely as well to break this stuff down. You can see it's pretty coarse still, but I would say it's a pretty similar grade to what we had it smoothed out the first time round. Always smiling, that fella. Imagine this little snakehead stream all planted up, eh? Overhanging bits and bobs, some lilies in there. It's going to look wonderful. Now where we might need to get a Kubota in for four-wheel drive purposes is to create these raised banks, not really swales, but because they'll be open at the ends to let the water flood round them. But yeah, they need to come up quite a height. The plan is to try and time it just right, so it's right at the back end of the dry season, get this as dry as possible in there, bound up the soil a day before the rains come, and Bob's your uncle, Fanny's your aunt, we can plant away and be brilliant. I'm sure this is going to be fantastic. If you can imagine, like long lines of planting, and then for the majority of the year it'll be flooded in between them, so even more room for your snakehead fishing with your surface lures if you're good at casting. So not long now, he's going to be leaving us yet again, probably for the last time. I'm going to get Toon to ask him if he can sort out one bit where we got a Kubota in the other week, and it's basically what I call gash. Get him to replow it. It's just too coarse and it's awful. So we'll see if he can sort that out for us. Whether it's a little bit too soft for the big old Ford, I don't know, but yeah, it's not clever. But I suppose if he can get in there all right, probably half an hour tops. We need to confirm, but I think he's 700 baht an hour. So at the moment, it's not even done a full day, I don't think. But once we get the total, I'll pop it on the now. Mrs. Crabtree says she wants a racing quad bike now. Knock us one up, will you, Eddie? Yeah, we want to set up a lap timer for all the way around the islands and the outer road. Get her one of them. Bloody goats won't get fed any day soon, will they? I only had a go on a quad once. Lean into the corner like I do a motorbike. Transpires you're supposed to lean the opposite way. It didn't end well. Extremely happy with this remodeled bit. Not only is the road nice and high now, we've cleared out down there. It was like a bag of spanners. It was not particularly a nice place, that. We get a few mushrooms around here, so there's plenty of shade. It stays a little bit damper. Mangoes are going bonkers. Loads of squirrels in that mango tree. Alright, he's on his way back. I don't know what else he's got planned, whether he can sort that bit out or not. That's pretty... it's like a flipping moonscape, that is. You just can't get the staff these days, can you, eh? Hey, if that doesn't give you a semi, off it will it, lads, eh? Settle down. What? What? Settle. Okay then, so the outside road is done. The road into the pasture at the back is done. A little bit on Goat Island he couldn't do. That was the bit that's really thick wet clay, and the old Ford was just sinking right down it. I think it is 4-wheel drive, I think, but yeah, the machine's so heavy it was just disappearing in there, so we haven't been able to get that done, unfortunately. We'll probably just wait and see what a rainy season does to it. It's not the main walk area for us or the goats, but the goats will be out there on it, and combined with the rain, I think it'll be all right. So that's all done, and he's just said to Toon he can sort out the bit in the sugar cane. So I'm just off down there now, show you what we were left with that we weren't happy with. Just can't get the Napier cuttings in it, and not particularly happy with almost every bit that's been done. I mean, I'll probably do it in another video where we're just doing the fodder, but in effect it's tilled it over to make it soft so we can just shove the Napier in, and he hasn't made it fine enough. He just bloody big sods. Should have cut it twice. Maybe he was worried that it was going to cost too much. We weren't charging by the ride, we were charging by the hour. So this is what we were left with. Yeah, I mean, it's just gash. The thing is, we're flat out, and most of the time Toon's not on the farm at the moment. Awful, so we couldn't keep an eye on him, and he'd left before we had a chance to sort of like say, oi mate, that's not what we're after. And don't want him back, to be quite honest. So Toon just said, look, wherever the guy's cut, you just cut it properly and mound it up so we can get our cuttings in. There you go. Maybe a bit of cross wires, you know, I'm probably being a bit too harsh. The idea is to loosen the soil up and to turn the grass over, so that by the time that all that's coming through again, the napiers took hold. So, you know, small ground cover grass and little weeds aren't a problem then. If you've got to go around digging a bloody hole everywhere, we'll never get done in about 3 years. So I've done that previously, and we just time does not allow us to do that anyway. We've got to get this in and growing to such an extent that by the time the rains come, the goats don't have to go out on wet pasture then, and we can just cut all the food. It's nice and clean for them. We'll just take it to them, keep it off the floor, and the goats will be a lot healthier than last year. So it's got to be done right. The beauty of using Macro Man is he knows where we're coming from, and I don't know if it comes across wrong or not, but he knows the sort of standard that we want. I'm not saying it's really high end, but we don't want it left like that was. So hopefully this will be the last bit of tractoring, apart from far yonder, in another month or two. Hopefully we can get him back for that, unless he makes a hash of that as well, in which case I will bin him off. Toon and I were hoping to develop this bit down here, but at the end of the day, you know, we have to draw a line somewhere, and as much as it would look nice with all little canal systems and growing stuff in between on raised bed areas, you know, it's sometimes you just have to say that'll do. We're still so fortunate to get done what we've done. Who's to say in another 3 or 4 years time we might be able to develop down there, turn it into something special. But I think now we put all our time and effort into the goats and planting everything up, and developing the lake, the island, all that sort of thing, and create some really nice sheltered fishing areas so you can get out the sun and the wind, and then start enjoying it. Apart from throwing my snakehead frog lure for about 20 minutes every now and again, Toon hasn't fished at all. But you know, we're flat out more than ever before. But we're almost there. So feels great.